It's been an incredible 3 year journey for this film to finally get released. And I spent 4 hours of my life checking this out. Very, 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 very long. But here's what I got to say about it. And we're going to start that review right now. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel today for a movie review. Yes, we're talking about probably the most highly anticipated, most hyped, most everything as far as with controversy, news, just everything that involved in getting this project done. And that is Justice League, the Snyder Cut, which is dropping on HBO Max March 18th. Yeah, it's been a long time coming for this film. And I gotta be honest, I'm happy for all of the fans who really pushed to release the Snyder Cut movement all on all social media and getting this done. I mean, without them, who knows if this was ever going to happen. And I think they truly deserve it. And even on the looking from another spin to this, I mean, if it existed, then I think content is content and it should have been released. And here we are. Finally, we're getting a chance to see what Zack Snyder's original vision was for this. Now, yeah, the 2017, 18, whatever it is, theatrical version by Joss Whedon, obviously it was a tragic thing in regards to Snyder happened to not complete that film with the passing of his daughter, which he dedicated this to Autumn, which was absolutely beautiful thing for him to do. But Whedon and Zack vision, tone, and everything are completely different. And quite frankly, the Joss Whedon version sucked. It was absolutely terrible. No one liked it. And this film, it was all about the idea of cleaning up a huge mess. And how could you not like fix it? I mean, I don't know how long that film was, but it wasn't 4 hours. And for 4 hours, you sure as hell better get it all right, because you got a lot of time to play with. And quite frankly, he was able to use all of his footage that he ever had. Like, to be honest, for 4 hours of this, which is broken down to 5 parts in the epilogue here, it has everything that you can think of. It feels like everything that was ever rumored about the film is all in this. But I have to say too that it completely restored the tone to me from the DC Universe film. So very dark and solid and stern and not too violent, but nonetheless, all the story was completely fleshed out, filled in all of the gaps and questions, and frankly, just every bit of footage, like I said, that he had completely used. Again, this movie was 4 hours, so like I'm definitely going to rely heavy on my notes here because there's a lot to really cover here. And I'm definitely just going to give you all of my thoughts, because I know this is going to be one of the most oversaturated reviews in YouTube in a very long time. So, you know, if you're listening to this, I appreciate it, but I know there's going to be 1,000 videos out there. I definitely want to make sure I get all my thoughts out in one review. So maybe this may go a little long, but I'll try to get through it. But with how this one was done, I mean, for it being so long, there was a lot of foreshadowing and a lot of puns. So like a lot of things are really trajectory of one another. So like when something said, something happened type of thing. And quite frankly, that also meant that a lot of things were drawn out, but it was cool and cinematic. But also at sometimes I will say it was a little bit of unnecessary, but we'll get to that. Darkseid. Now, his fight scene is absolutely amazing. One of my favorite things of this film. Ray Porter, who voiced him, just did an amazing job. And with that fight scene, so many things happened. You had Zeus, you had Ares, you had Artemis, you had Green Lanterns. Like, it was crazy. And another big positive thing for me was Barry Allen, obviously played by Ezra Miller. His scenes were goofy and funny, and much funnier than before. But I love the emphasis on how the Flash is the most important hero of all of them, and in regards to the universe as well, as it should be. And if you know anything about the Flash, you know, like, emphasis on what he can do and his abilities is super important. And we didn't get that in the first Justice League. This kind of seemed like just the bystander young kid who didn't know what he was doing. Also, Kiersey Clemens, who's playing Iris West. I got to get her appearance. I cannot wait to get more of her. So the Flash movie, hopefully should be very, very dope. Now, we got so much more Silas Stone, who is the father of Victor Stone. Joe Morton just killed it. I can't even go no other ways about it. He killed that role. And not to mention, too, we got so much more Steppenwolf. Like, we got more about his abilities, like the personal voyage, and just much more menacing. And there were still questions about his logic, I'll say, and like on the quest of getting the mother boxes and the anti-life equation. But, you know, you can still expect there to be some issues with the movie. And I thought some of the things with the psychology of Steppenwolf was a little bit off, but whatever. The cinematography, as I said, they used a lot of slow motion. But while it was cool, some of it was definitely unnecessary. And it just felt like it was just lagging and dragging. It's like, whatever. And then the editing here, it was an easy job for the editor because you didn't have to do much, because you didn't really have to play within like a box of rules. You had all the footage, so use all the footage. You didn't have to worry about trimming time to get in under a certain time or any sort of expectations from the theater company of getting a certain runtime. You're just able to put it all together. So the editing is a billion times better than the first one, but as you would expect, because you got the ability to use everything that's there. So, you know, I think that's worth noting, because bad editing can also be a huge catalyst to ruining a movie. I could name so many movies that were so good, but the editing was so terrible, it takes you right out of it. But let's go back to the characters real quick. So every character and every actor has their moments, including like backstory, how abilities are developed, and how everybody truly comes into their own. So again, this is the idea of like whatever footage they use for folks, it's all there because you know about everybody's everything. And with that being said, I enjoy Cyborg the most by a long shot. I know folks aren't too fond of Ray Fisher right now, but I gotta say, I was very, very interested in everything involving him and Cyborg in this. So definitely. But I do love still, going back to the Joss Whedon version of this, that some of the bright moments from that are still there. Like, I really love that scene of when the Flash was kind of left by himself when everybody met up with Commissioner Gordon. That's still there, it's still funny, because like the films feel totally different. I haven't watched the other one, the Whedon version, in a while, but like I definitely remember certain things, and like even from the complete restructuring of the beginning of this film, like it's just totally different. And with that being said, all fight scenes were much more enjoyable. And now we're getting team ups with abilities, and like, yo, the way how they use the Flash again. I'm trying to tell you, like, if you know anything about the Flash abilities and how they only scratch the surface in the Whedon version, this one, the Flash, he goes in. And I also love, because this is what I really hated about the Whedon version, is Aquaman is not no corny aqua water cowboy. He's much more serious in this, and I definitely appreciated that. So Jason Momoa feels much more his norm than whatever they tried to do before. But I love how they talked about the origins and really brought full explanation of what the mother boxes is, how they're used, and so on. And again, I know this stuff from reading the comments, but I could think that if you didn't, like it didn't really seem like you really didn't get the purpose of them, and how much of like everything drives within them. So everything is completely explained to this, even in layman's terms, for people who may not be big comic book fans, about the importance of them. And again, with that, we got so many other cool things again, because when you're talking about the origins of the mother boxes, especially being on Earth, you're talking about the Vikings or man, you're talking about gods, you're talking about Green Lanterns, and then you got other people getting involved here, such as Ryan Choi, who if you know anything, you know who he becomes, and Martian Manhunter, which is not a spoiler because all this stuff has been out on the net all of a sudden. But yeah, all these sort of things all come together in regards to the explanation of them. Now, once Superman returns or enters the film, whichever you want to put it, absolutely everything about him is amazing. Matter of fact, like I like wait till you see the opening moments in regards to Superman. But legitimately, everything with Superman is so dope, and the black suit moment is so epic. Like you're going to be wild, like of how crazy it's kind of even mind blowing how that never even made it to the first cut. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. And again, I'm a huge fan of the Man of Steel score, so anytime Superman is on scene, of course that is playing. Hans Zimmer killed that in that film. No, a lot of people aren't big with that film, but who cares? To each his own. But beyond the Superman stuff, Dark Side again stuff, and just the vision that Cyborg has upon touching the mother boxes for the first time. All of these are the absolute brightest spots in this film. Superman, Dark Side, and the Cyborg vision scene. Crazy. And I think that, you know, with all of the issues that the Whedon version had, I feel like a lot of it is corrected. Mostly all of it. There's still a few other things that's kind of like, I'm not sure. But like, for the most part, everything is completely filled so that there's really no holes in the plot. With that being said, again, they did have team up scenes, and you know, talking about towards the later parts of this film, they have this slow motion scene where all of them all come together. That is very, very similar to what the Avengers did in the beginning of Age of Ultron, when they all kind of jumping in action in that little freeze frame scene of them all there. They have one of those and like it's cool, but like it's like, all right, well, Avengers already did that, and that clearly looks just like it. So but again, yeah, the final phase of this, which is part 5, technically not the final, but like the final of the movie before they go to the dream sequence, it's just a billion times better than and much more climactic, and like the stakes felt a billion times higher than what it did in the first one. Like everything was so much better, with so much more emphasis on the team ups and abilities. And I gotta say, like the Flash, the Speed Force scene is, I didn't even know nothing about this happening. It is the craziest thing ever. It's so cool. But I gotta be honest, I really enjoyed this, and I can't really like look at this as a film because it doesn't play by film rules, shall I say. More or less like a mini series all put together, and whatever it may be, like it's content, and I thought it was good. I thought it was enjoyable. It is super long, there's no question about it, but I enjoyed it. Like, it was a lot out of this that I enjoyed, that I said, like, you know what, this really takes the stink off of the first one, or just the Justice League name entirely, or the DC universe. And it just kind of sucks because, like, as enjoyable as it is, like, this makes all the other films make much more sense. And sure, it's absolutely sad what happened to Zack Snyder's daughter, and again, him dedicating to this is a beautiful thing. But like, thinking about the potential of the Snyderverse and where all this can go from here, it's like kind of like devastating, because there is no more. And like, considering like how much momentum it could have got coming out of this, everything could have been different right now. So it's just like, you know, thankful for being able to for them to be able to get this out. But like, now, you know, I already know the next movement is going to restore the Snyderverse. Like, I know it's coming. And I can't blame people, because I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this. And I think that a lot of people's voices were heard considering getting the Snyder Cut done. I feel like there's going to be a lot more of these movements with hashtags going on. But with that being said, before I end this review, the last thing I got to talk about is the dream scene. The dream scene sequence that from the first one that just completely was out of context for me. And it was cool because of what it was like kind of implying. And you were thinking Dark Side, but we didn't get to see Dark Side. But now that they actually give this dream sequence much more time to flesh it out, it is dope. And there's a conversation between Batman and the Joker, that is just completely nuts. And I don't know, man. And again, now we're not getting Ben Affleck and Jared Leto in anything. So like, you know, those are the kind of the frustrations with how everything are. But like, this just shows you the potential of what it could have been if they could have been. So, but yeah, folks, I don't even have to tell you. You already know Zack Snyder Justice League, the Snyder Cut, is releasing March 18th, HBO Max. I know everybody's checking this out, and I know you're gonna watch a ton of reviews and breakdowns and whatnot, but just wanted to make sure I got my thoughts out for you all so you can know that I watched this and I was definitely had a good time with it. It was long, but definitely a lot of good in it, and I enjoyed it. So definitely let me know in the comments, folks, your thoughts on this. And as always, folks, stay tuned because more reviews are coming soon. Big old bell.